Welcome back to Nobody's Madness. I'm your host, Nobody. Now, originally I was going to do this show, or the next show after the last one about magic and psi. I was going to do this show about psi ritual or magic ritual. I got to talking to a few people on Facebook about using music, or more accurately singing during ritual. And during the course of that thread, somebody asked if I had any samples of me doing chanting and the way that I use the vibratory formula for my ritual work. And I had planned on getting into that a little bit later, but at the request of that individual, I figured, why not? I'll go ahead and do this. I want this to be a little more interactive. I want people who watch it to be able to inquire and ask about things, and I can try to answer or give examples to the best of my ability. So what I'm going to do is called the middle pillar ritual. Ceremonial magicians will be very familiar with it. It has to do with the Kabbalistic tree of life and the central pillar of that particular symbol. A little bit of research could help. It's way too much to explain, and right now we're just focusing on the vibratory formula. So feel free to look into the middle pillar ritual and the tree of life and Kabbalah in general. Now, my method is a little different than most ceremonial magician, only in that I'm using Enochian. So for this ritual I will be using the Enochian language, which is connected to Dr. John D. Again, it's worth researching to find some information about that, but as always, take it with a grain of salt because there's a lot of misinformation, as there usually is with occult subjects. So I chose to use the Enochian system for personal preference. I like the idea of the system, but I'll go into that another time as well because it's a really complicated subject, as you'll come to find out most of them are. Things are never as simple as they seem. So I substituted the traditional Hebrew names for Enochian names, again using a method that I came up with, mostly based on intuition and some spirit communication and guidance and such. So if it sounds different, that's why. I'm not using the traditional Hebrew, I'm using Enochian. And I also use my own pronunciation of the Enochian, so if it doesn't sound like what most of you are familiar with Enochian, that would be why, because I developed my own system for speaking that particular language, which to some extent is not really meant to be spoken, but again, it's a whole different subject and we'll get into that. Just trying to answer, some of the possible questions of why does Enochian sound funny? Because I say it differently. Why are you using a different language than Hebrew? Because I choose to. So that being said, I will go ahead and do the middle pillar ritual using the vibratory formula that some may be familiar with and some aren't. It's similar to singing and chanting. The difference to me between singing and chanting is that the chanting of the vibratory formula, some chanting doesn't quite fit the same bill, but the vibratory formula is using your voice to focus your whole body, but I will go into that more with my explanation of ritual psi. So here we go. And that is the middle pillar ritual. And the purpose of it is to ground or cleanse or purify, strengthen, increase one's aura, and it will have an effect on the surrounding area if done properly. As a favor, anybody watching this, just out of curiosity, if you notice a change in the environment from the recording playing, like if you have speakers, probably not so much on the headset, but if you feel a change in your environment just from listening to this, a little bit of feedback would be interesting. I know personally right now I feel a lot more relaxed and energized and just clear-headed. But we'll go more into how the vibratory formula works, because it's more than just the vocalization. There's a focus of bringing your entire being into the vibration. So it's similar to the idea of resonance, but a little more involved because you're getting your entire body, your energy field, your whole being to vibrate with you. So that's kind of the tricky part, and hopefully eventually I'll be able to kind of give an idea of the difference in the mind during just regular chanting and vibration, or regular singing, normal noise making versus vibratory formula. So thanks for watching. Hope it didn't scare you off.